There are places in the world that are not cursed. They are not abandoned. They are not marked by tragedy. No warning signs, no legends carved into stone. Just places where people live and work and go to sleep at night believing tomorrow will arrive, the same way today did. Those places are the most dangerous. In the southern regions of Japan, far from tourist routes and city lights, there are villages surrounded by rice fields that stretch until the land simply gives up and dissolves into heat and haze. The fields are not beautiful. They are not dramatic. They are functional. Water, soil, green stalks, insects humming so constantly that silence feels wrong when it arrives. In summer, the air becomes heavy, not hot in a sharp way, but thick, as if breathing requires permission. Sound travels poorly there. Voices feel distant even when spoken close. Time slows, not enough to notice, but enough to make hours blur together. The people who live in these villages do not talk about ghosts. They do not tell stories about demons. They do not warn visitors about curses. They talk about rules, rules that are never written down, rules that are never explained, rules that are passed on quietly, without emphasis, like instructions for using a dangerous tool. Everyone pretends is harmless. Children learn these rules early, not through fear, through repetition. One of those rules is always spoken. The same way, if you see something white in the fields, far away, moving slowly, do not stare at it. No explanation follows. No reason is given. Children are simply told to turn their heads, to look at the ground, to blink, to walk away. If they ask questions, the adults do not get angry. They just repeat the rule calmly, as if the answer has already been provided and cannot be changed. Most children forget the rule because most children never need it. The fields are empty. The wind moves the plants. Plastic sheets flutter. Birds pass overhead. Nothing unusual ever happens until it does. The first documented mention of what later became known as Kunekune does not come from folklore or myth. It comes from a medical intake report in the late 1970s. The report describes a middle-aged man brought to a rural hospital by his family. He was conscious, physically unharmed, responsive to basic commands, but he could not answer a single question that involved description when asked to describe what he had seen. Earlier that day, he froze. His heart rate spiked. His breathing became shallow. He began repeating the same phrase quietly, in a flat voice. It was too thin. Doctors assumed heat stroke, dehydration, stress. He worked outdoors. It was summer. The explanation fit neatly, and no one questioned it too closely, except his daughter. She later told a local official that earlier that afternoon, her father had stopped at the edge of the rice fields on his way home. He stood still for a long time, too long. When she asked what he was looking at, he did not answer. When she followed his gaze, she saw nothing at first. Then she noticed it, something white, far away, moving slowly, not walking, not swaying like plants, not fluttering like fabric, just bending. She looked for less than a second before her father screamed and shoved her face down toward the dirt. He dragged her away without another word. That detail never made it into the report. Over the years, similar incidents appeared in records scattered across different prefectures. They were never connected officially. Different hospitals, different doctors, different diagnoses. Acute psychosis, stress-induced dissociation, unidentified neurological episodes, but the descriptions, when they existed at all, followed the same pattern, a white shape seen from a distance, observed for too long. The shape itself is difficult to describe because anyone who tries to describe it fails in the same way. Witnesses struggle with proportion, with anatomy, with scale. They agree on only a few details. It is white, it moves, and it does not move correctly. From far away, Kunekune looks harmless, almost ridiculous, like a strip of cloth caught on a pole or a scarecrow bending in the wind. Some compare it to a human figure, wearing white clothing, standing alone where no one should be standing. The mistake happens when the brain tries to make sense of it. Human perception is not passive. The mind constantly fills in gaps, completes patterns, resolves ambiguity. It does this automatically. It has to. Without that process, the world would be unbearable chaos. Kunekune breaks that process. The longer a person looks at it, the more their brain tries to define what it is seeing. Is it a person? Is it an object? Is it alive? The answers never arrive. Instead, something worse happens. The brain commits to an interpretation that cannot exist. Witnesses describe a moment, always the same moment, when understanding clicks into place. They suddenly feel certain they know what they are looking at. That is when the damage begins. Some people scream, some collapse, some go silent and never speak again. Children are affected faster than adults. Their brains are still flexible, still developing, still eager to make sense of the world. When that process is forced into an impossible shape, the result is catastrophic. One child, interviewed decades later as an adult, described the moment like this. It felt like realizing you've been reading the same sentence your entire life, and suddenly noticing it doesn't have any words. Kunekune does not chase people. It does not approach. It does not react. It stays where it is, far away, moving slowly, endlessly, bending in on itself like something folding without joints. The danger is not proximity. The danger is attention. In the villages where the rule is still remembered, adults avert their eyes immediately. If they notice the shape, they turn their backs. They pretend they saw nothing. They never point, and they never ever allow children to look. Because once the brain finishes its mistake, there is no way to undo it.